Good morning, American Jiu-Jitsu. We are on tape 12, 4th degree black belt. Again, I want to thank Kathy and Billy for being here, helping me make these tapes. We do practice social distancing. Remember American Jiu-Jitsu LI. It's our Facebook page, Facebook group page. It's also our YouTube page. Make sure you like and subscribe to it. These videos are fully libraried on both of those pages. AmericanJiu-Jitsu@gmail.com is if you need to speak to me or ask me any questions in regards to these videos. And AJJCenters.com will give you all the virtual codes for our Zoom training, which is 6 days a week. Our videos are posted 5 days a week. This category that we're going to be working on today is what we call a baton. Similar to my honest training, but we just refer to it as a baton, where we have a weapon and a person grabs it. So how might that happen? Well, I never believe in getting out of a car because that puts you into harm's way. But if you had no choice, your car stalled down and you were in a kind of an isolated area, I do always recommend that you have some type of thing that would simulate a weapon. I'm not a big person with weapons, but listen, if you don't use it, it might be used against you. So when we use the weapon, we want to conceal it, because if you show a weapon, a person might pull a better one out. So in this case, we're showing you a way of maybe using an umbrella, a tree branch, or whatever, to use as a weapon because you feel that you might be threatened. So what's going to happen here is we're going to hide the weapon. And in this case, when we do this, give me 1 second. Should have been more prepared. All right. We're going to hide the weapon by either hiding it behind the wrist like this, just like so. We're going to put it behind the leg like so, or we're going to put it here. So we're either going to hide it behind the hand, we're going to hide it behind the leg, or we're going to hide it here. So when we do go to use the weapon, we're going to be prepared, but the attacker is not going to be aware that we have a weapon. We're only going to be using this to protect ourselves or protect our family. So we're not a person who just uses a weapon just to prove a point. So on the first attack, what's happening is the person's grabbing me on a lapel. And again, very sensitive thing, very hard thing to watch on a video if you're not trained. These are high-level techniques. They don't make a lot of sense when you're watching them. These tapes are not really instructional as much as they're a review for my students that train with me. If you're watching this and you form an opinion, your opinion really doesn't matter because you're not here. If you really want to know what we're doing, like I said, email me, come down to the dojo, and I'll show you what these techniques are all about. At any given time, if the technique was to fail, we have a stick in our hand, now we're going to hit you with the stick. So understand that when we use submission, we're using because we feel we can. If at any moment of a physical confrontation, we feel we can, then we're going to go to a more extreme measures. But as we learned in life, you're responsible for your action. If you dish out more than that should be dealt with, you end up being the criminal. So we're trying to dish out what we feel is needed to subdue this person, but if it gets ugly, we're ready to go to war. So the person grabs with a lapel grab, and now we're going to work on basically the bone that sits right there. You'll see. So as the person grabs with a lapel grab, he's going to bring his stick. He strikes with the groin. He brings the stick over the top and now presses. I like to refer that as the thumb bone. All right, that's the radial bone. Okay, they're medical people, but I like to call it the thumb bone because I'm simple. All right, let's watch that one more time. From here, so he strikes. From here, comes over the top. Notice how he's got the hands laced together like that, and now the pain is brutal. At that point, even if she wanted to let go, it doesn't matter. And at any given time, if she did let go, he can strike with that stick right across the face. Again, we're dishing out the appropriate punishment that we feel is needed for the situation, not in excess, but we can go in excess if we feel it escalates to a worse situation. This is the same scenario, but this is like, again, this is how the system gets built. People ask other questions. So now what happens here is the person starts to kind of turn the wrist a little bit, or actually stiffens the wrist. So the first one, they grab this this way. Now they kind of push with a forward movement on that lapel grab, and now we're going to hit what we call that Yodan pin. So from here, as she pushes, see now the thumb pin's not there. We just bring that hand around, turn it to the side, and we can snap that wrist just like so. Okay, let's look at that one more time. I'll move the camera so you can see it a little bit better. And turns it just like so. Perfect, okay. In the third scenario, okay, what's happening here now is the person turns the wrist up. So the first one, they grab this like this. The second one, they grab this like this. The next one, they're turning the wrist, and we're gonna do a technique called a hijimatakomi, where we wrap the elbow. So watch. From here, grabs it, she turns it, now it just drops underneath her elbow and literally could snap her hand right off her shoulder. All right, let's look at that one more time. Yeah, and bang. So let's look at those three one more time. The first one is that thumb bone, right? Right there, comes up, over the top, boom. Second one, she turns the hand this way now. So he gets it on that second manipulation or joint, yeah, and there's that Yodan pin, and the next one, she turns it now. Yeah, and boom, perfect. All right, we've got a couple more techniques. The next technique is gonna be if the person comes at us, and we're gonna hide the stick now behind our leg, okay? So we're gonna hide the stick here under the arm. So the first one, we were kind of hiding the stick behind the leg. Now we're gonna hide it here. So as the person makes that front approach, and not grabbing me, they're coming at me, I'm gonna strike with that strike right to the groin. He'll never see that coming. From here, I'm gonna grab the stick and poke right to the center of the person's body, which is gonna bring him down. And then I'm gonna grab the stick behind the neck, drive him with a strike, and I can bring him right down to the flat part of their belly. Let's look at that technique. Strikes, hit, comes over the top, knee strikes, and bring it right down. Let's look at that one more time from the other side. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Next technique is going to be the final technique for this video, is when we're hiding the stick behind the head. Okay, so they can't see it. Might be, scratching our head. Hey, what's the problem? I don't want any trouble. Now from here, we're going to crown that person right over the head, which is going to either bring the person down on the ground or just hunch them down. What we're going to do is we're going to do that same thing. We're going to strike to the center of the person's body. We're going to do that same thing. We can bring the person down to the ground like we just did on the prior technique, but now all of a sudden I hear whispers coming from here, so I don't want to go that way. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to come over the top with my arm, I'm going to come under the chin, which I'll show you in a second, and now I have this person's head in between here. This is a very lethal technique. So I would only do this technique. You can hold the person in submission here, but this is a very lethal technique. I would only do this technique if I was very, very fearful of threat. Because if I took this hand and dropped it to his neck, to my knee, that person's head's in the middle of that. So that technique becomes a lethal technique. Again, only using if you feel that you're in fear for your life. Okay, so let's look at that. Strikes, boom, hit, come over the top. Now he could bring it down, but he comes underneath. And now from here, if he took that hand and leg and step back from here, it's going to be very good. She's falling very voluntarily, not to be hurt. But let's look at that technique one more time. Yes. So from here, strikes, from here, comes over the top here and has a lock. Now if he brought that leg back, he would go right down. He lets go of the stick to let the pressure off that neck so he doesn't harm her. All right, so today we worked on baton technique, where we're hiding that baton behind the leg, up the arm, over the head. These techniques are done because you feel that your life was endangered. Listen, believe it or not, as a martial artist for my whole life, I don't believe in fighting. But I will not allow a person to hurt me or my family. We all have a right to defend ourselves, and that's what I'm all about. So once you cross that line, or that disrespect thing, where you're trying to hurt me or my family, now you cross the line, which is not a good line to cross with me. All right, so I teach you how to defend yourselves, not how to hurt other people. The end result is you will hurt somebody, but it's because you are protecting yourself and your family. Stay home healthy and safe. Got a big crowd of people coming down the street, go the other way, okay? Can't fight off 100 people. A lot of instability and a lot of craziness out there. Dojo will hopefully be open up on July 15th. If not now, the best time to train is now, okay? So as soon as we get back and you feel socially acceptable to come into a dojo, you need to get training. We're all about American Jiu-Jitsu combat. We're not about hurting people. We're about protecting yourself and your family. Come down, check it out, see what we're all about, and we'll be able to help you out, empower you, make you feel good. I get so many texts every day about people who are so fearful. Then I get the other texts from one of my students saying, where do you want us, Sensei? What do you want us to do? We've got to protect the building. Total different mindset because they're training and they believe in what it is that they do. So hopefully none of us have to deal with any of this, but right now we do have to deal with it, but just hopefully not down our own blocks. Stay home healthy and safe. That's the easiest way to avoid this kind of stuff. The studio is hopefully slated to open July 15th. Check us out on all our social medias, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Again, thank Kathy and Billy for helping me out. We'll see you on the next tape. Have a great day, people.